What's up, Rob?
How you doing, Steve? Thank you.
Why don't you sit a little bit closer to the mic?
Thank you for inviting me in.
Yeah, of course. So, to kind of set the tone for this conversation, you and I have already done some of like the introductory stuff last year. We've gone over your background, and I have a little bit of an idea of where you are in general as a candidate. But as each year happens, new issues come up, new candidates come up. So you might adjust your overall messaging year to year. So
correct.
My question would be, how are you looking at this year's race? What are the issues, and what's your basic agenda?
Well, my basic agenda is to get back in and finish what I did start in 22. I was just in control of streets and roads at that time. So what I did was we actually cleaned up the streets. We started painting all the curbs and all the walkways, everything. I wanted it to look fresh and clean for the city. I worked with them with cleaning up the gutters. We cleaned up all along the street areas, all the empty lots. The railroad tracks were cleaned up. Actually, I was out maybe 3 weeks ago with Commissioner Suey and a candidate who's running, David Summers. We were cleaning the railroad tracks up. David Summers brought out his own equipment to actually haul that trash away into the city trucks, which was like a tractor with a grabber. Mm-hmm. So that was part of what I was doing. I also got involved when I was there with Streets and Roads hand in hand on hand. I was out with the guys every day, working with them, seeing what they needed, how they're working, see if we can make things better, talk to the guys what they thought could make things better, which is called TQM, which is Total Quality Management Control, which is putting the employee in charge, on how we could do the jobs better. Even though they have a supervisor, I wanted to hear what they had to say. I told Wayne Grossman, who was my director of the department, I told him I'm his commissioner, so my job is to come here, sit with you, need to know what your job is every day and what you need. So I'm your pencil pusher. So you and me are going to work together, and we're going to get this done.
It's like a basic intern process.
Correct. And it kind of worked out. And that's what most commissioners need to do. They don't need to go in right away and just say, I'm in charge, and this is how we're going to do it. You got to learn the job. Because, first of all, one commissioner can't change the city. It needs at least three votes to get things done. And sometimes that doesn't happen, as you know. So if you can get
you've got to have at least a little bit of a relationship with these people and try to incorporate some of their ideas as well, because you can't just come in like a one-man wrecking ball.
No, because when I was there, I was working with Joe Suey and he's, and Kurt. There was no problems when I was commissioner there. And a lot of people have heard of a woman named Angela Broomwall, and sometimes I thought I was sounding like a babbling fool when I was on there, but actually Angela and Tim Cardy and a few others, met me after the meeting. They said, no, you're actually what we call the people's commissioner, because you're out there with the people. You'll go to their houses and talk to them. You'll take the calls, and you're there.
Pick up the TVs.
Yes, pick up the TVs. I haven't done it lately because I did get bit. My hand got bit. So.
Yeah, that was the emergency from earlier.
Yeah. And my truck got totaled from an accident last June, so I have an SUV to try to pick up what we can. Process of trying to get another truck. But my main goal, I like to help people out. And this isn't a political job for me. This is a job that I love the city, and I want to do whatever I can for the city. When I was 6 years old, I was hit by a fire truck, Millville fire truck at 4th and Broad. Mm-hmm. It snapped both my legs, and that kind of started my tribute to wanting to help the city, because the firefighters and police officers at that time came to the hospital every day to check on me and brought me toys. Remember the big G.I. Joe dolls? They brought them. Mm-hmm. I was in a body cast for 6 months.
Very community engaged type of atmosphere.
Millville was a lot different then, where people, like today, people were out. They go out and they talk to you. Today it's more impersonal. Like, it's on Facebook and it's on computers. They don't come face to face with you.
Yeah, that is one of the big paradoxes of today's world, where it's like this black mirror that I hold in my hand is like an infinite encyclopedia, but and that helps us learn things and get things done faster. But if you abuse it, just like anything else, it can suck your soul from the community.
Yeah, it's like a communication tool with no repercussions or anything when you're like face to face. I was on the school board for 9.5 years before I took commission, so I learned a lot there. We have social order classes where kids have to learn to be able to socialize to one another, face to face, not phones. And we have an epidemic in the school system actually, because a lot of our kids have type 2 diabetes, and a lot of it's due to not exercising like they should, like we used to do. So, I mean, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, there is a lot going on with that transition.
But jumping back to commission, when I was there too, I also worked with code enforcement. We went out. I went door to door with them, moving out these not homeless really, they were supposed to be homeless, but they were drug addicts and drug dealers in these homes squatting. If the owners didn't want the property, we contacted Sheriff Augustino at that time, and he found out that the people didn't want the property, so it was put up for a sheriff's sale.
Yeah.
And we were eliminating them. One of the addresses was 808 3rd Street, so the neighbors in that area was really, really up in the uproar. But it went throughout the city. We started to do that. But unfortunately, it's all fell to the wayside. It all depends if people can work together. If you have disruption within the commission, it's not like a regular form of government, and it falls apart. It actually should run like the school board, because technically it's a board, and our mayor is not really a mayor. Our mayor is a president.
Yeah.
Because it's a board of commission. So there's a lot of issues that need to be resolved. They need to be working.
You know what? I was just listening to Jim Quinn the other day talk to, I think it was Joe Condo or I think it was actually Assemblyman McClellan, where he was venting a bit about the Walsh system of government over there. So could you maybe unpack a little bit more about why that's a problem, and or if you even feel, well, you just said it's a problem, but unpack a little bit more of why that becomes a problem in practice, and whether you think that's actually able to be changed in the near future.
Well, here's how I can describe it in layman's terms. You're the father, and this is the mother, and you have 4 kids. Now, kids are arguing and fighting, and I'll put it this way, you're trying to control them, but everybody, whether you're the mayor or the commissioner, you all have equal power. So how do you get anything done if everybody has equal power? That is a problem. Nobody's power on there, even on the
there's
school
no
board,
final decision maker.
No, I mean the mayor is supposed to be. The only thing the mayor gets is a little more money. If Ben was, nothing against Ben, but if Ben was a full-time mayor like Vineland, he'd have more power because he'd be a mayor. In our government, and even on a board, nobody has any more power than anyone else on the board. So if that's the problem with the government, I mean.
Well, but then doesn't the vote still go 3-2 in one direction?
It has to go 3-2, but sometimes some people stick their finger in the air and see which way the wind blows.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And then how would that technically be fixed by having the mayor form of government? Does the mayor then get more voting power or something like that?
There's a little different form on that, yes.
Okay.
More voting power, and it's a different, full different setup than the commission. The commission form was started back in way early 1900s in Galveston, Texas, when they had hurricanes, and they flooded out lots of parts of Texas, and they needed a form of government temporarily. So it was supposed to be a temporary form of government to help and control and help people with the problems with the flooding and with police, and just help things move, because then they didn't have all the technology we have now. The commission is really a basic form of government. It's temporary.
Okay.
It's not. I don't think. I've never liked it. I think it's a form of government that should change, but too many people like it, and we'll just say higher up.
Oh, okay.
In the good old boy system.
Gotcha. All right. And then let's get into some of the specific issues and stuff that's going on. So one thing that I noticed when I was watching a county commissioner meeting the other day was they spent a lot of time with the state. So the different municipalities around Cumberland County got together with the state planning board, and they rezoned a lot of areas throughout the county. So places that you couldn't build before, now the state is giving the okay, like, okay, now we really do want to build in more parts of Commercial Township, and we really do want to build in more parts of Downtownship, et cetera, et cetera. And so I noticed one of the areas was the industrial park in Millville. You know, we've been talking for decades about potentially doing that NAB Ave extension. And so for people out there who don't already know, NAB Ave is a road where if you get off 55 South at the Sherman Avenue exit but head out towards Bridgeton, I don't know, 4 or 5 miles down the road, there's the cross intersection with the liquor store right there, and you make a left towards Millville. Yeah. And but that ends at a farm. Now, they could extend that road going out towards Millville, the industrial park, and the airport, and that would leave a much more efficient truck, a route for trucks to get there.
Yeah, they were trying to figure that out when the state was even coming off of 55, like near Wheaton's, where the old Wheaton's is, off of G Street and Wheaton Avenue. They kind of enlarged that bridge because eventually that's going to get industrialized again. It was when I was commissioned, when Anthony DeSantis had talked to the city about what he was going to do with the property. Plus, I went to 15 hours of arbitration to get those buildings tore down and get the process started. But now there's issues. I understand that Anthony's ready to just leave the city because of the nonsense. It was going to be a cold storage facility, which would have probably had about 6,000 people working once it was fully up and operational, and had the railroad track. So that was why they built that, extended that bridge for that. It was one of the reasons, besides it being old. NAB Ave, I think it would be great because we need the industry here, because we need the ratables. If we don't have the ratables,
we'll never have money for anything.
Commissioner Watson, who beat me in 22, we were talking, and he wanted all open land, and I was like, we can have open land, but we got to have industry here. We don't have enough people that is wealthy enough to just pay for it. We had a lot of Donald Trumps and Elon Musk with money that live here. We could do that, but we'd have all the open land. But we need that industry.
So then, I guess more to the point is, do you have a specific take on where that all stands and whether you think it's actually going to be able to happen, or do you have any ideas to help that happen?
I think it's going to come through. I think Congressman Van Drew is involved in that as well.
Oh, okay.
And right now he's working with understand with Atlantic Electric with all their issues. But
it's taking up his
has mentioned
bandwidth.
That, and at some breakfasts for the Republicans that we went to, and that would be an idea for something for the county to have that, so we can start getting trucks through there without it coming through our main traffic areas, bothering people. And again, we need to build that airport out. That's what it's there for, to be industrialized. And Orange Street is also needs to be built up more for industrial.
Okay, so your basic take on that is Van Drew is on top of it. It might not be his top priority at the minute because of obviously the electric stuff going on, but it's underway, and what you think it'll take care of itself in a while.
I hope it don't take 10 years, but
well,
I mean, we're talking about the senior high. When we built this, added on to the senior high, that was a project that was talked about when I was in high school in 1984, graduating. Okay, and we finally got to start that process around 2021, and it took all those years to get that process going, but it was all paid by state grants. The only thing the school, I understand, had to pay, this is after I left, is that the orchestra pit wasn't put in. and it wasn't a part of the plan. It was forgotten. So if they wanted that orchestra pit, the school system had to pay for it, which they did. But you're talking about a school system that runs off of $68 million from the state, and then with all the grants and all the other subsidies that it gets in, comes to $92.5 million. Where the city runs off of $36 million straight. So it's a big difference. But each school, like the senior high before it was constructed the way it is now, was $12 million. Junior high was $11 million, and Lakeside cost $12 million to run, and in every other school between $9 and $10 million. And that's pays to building running.
Yep. So that sounds like it could be fairly complicated within itself. Right. Let's move on to another issue that keeps coming up, and part of the way I want to phrase this is I don't want to put anybody on blast directly, but the Millville crime issue, right? I've been talking about this on and off with different candidates, and one particular candidate, I guess in a diplomatic way to put it, was they were completely unaware that Millville has a police staffing shortage problem. Now, just before we even move past that, would you agree that Millville has a police staffing problem?
Yes, even when I was a part-time officer there, and I left in 2011 when I got injured working at the air base in Atlantic City. They had around 85 officers to 89, and that was still understaffed. So anything under that is understaffed.
Where are we at now?
I really don't know. I think Kurt said like 53 or something.
Right, so that's almost 50% shortage.
From when I was there, and then 85 and 89 was still understaffed.
Right.
Because at that time, we had 6 patrolmen on at mid-shift and midnight shifts, not including a sergeant. And sergeants were out, and sergeants are in between the road and inside taking care of details. Okay,
so at least we're on the same page with that being a legitimate issue. Could you then get into some ideas about how you might fix that?
Well, yeah, we'd like to be able to hire more people.
What do you flick a light switch and that just happens?
There's no money. There's not enough fundings coming in right now. The way I understand, I haven't gotten into it because anything I want to find out about funding, I have to over it now. So at the time, I think when Suey was running it, there would have been ways to be able to bring that funding in. There are temporary grants out there from the feds that can help. As long as the grants are there, we have the money for the officers. The problem is once the grant's gone, like even with the school system, then what do you do? How do you fund them? How do you keep them? So it's an issue that would have to be, I'd have to get into. I need to see how much money is coming in, what we're spending it on, and if, to move them forward, because we made a lot of promotions, higher up promotions, which is okay, but we don't need a bunch of captains. When I was there, we only had 1 captain, 1 chief. We did have 5 lieutenants, and then multiple sergeants. Because sergeants are the supervisor boots on the street, and they're dealing with everything.
Right.
So I would like to see more bike patrol, more foot patrol, because when you're on bike and foot, you see and hear more.
Right. Actually, that
we did hire more class 1s and class 2, because when I was there, I was class 1, which didn't carry a gun, but we foot patrolled through all the bad sections. I had class 2s, which were correction officers. Like there was Atkinson and there was San Filippo. They were correction officers from Bayside who gave up their days off to patrol Millville, and if they worked their day shift, they would patrol at night as class 2 officers.
Yeah.
They did more arrests than the regulars did at the time, which caused kind of a disruption between the ranks, but it's not a political thing they need to get into. We just need to get the criminals off the street.
Right.
And that helped out with boots on the street.
Yeah.
And they're cheaper than a full-time officer. This way, we have a lot of officers. I know the young ones that are out there now, they would like to make more. They have families too, and they have a life as well.
Absolutely.
So, You're talking about somebody maybe making 40,000 a year or less. That's not a lot. I mean, 20 years ago, okay, maybe that was a lot, but not now.
Yeah,
This
now,
days,
no.
when you go to a supermarket and $100, you come out with a bag
Right.
of groceries.
Exactly.
So, I mean,
So then, would you say this kind of relates into the overall economic development issue in the sense of, in order for Millville to be able to hire more cops, it needs more revenue? And we were just talking about the ratables with NABAV and all that. Are there other ideas you have for maybe how Millville can raise more money and therefore pay police officers better?
it's mainly just, what I'm saying, it's just the revenues we need more revenue coming in. And what I can see legally, I mean, I can't see anything else. It's just that revenue coming in. I don't want to see raising more taxes because it's already putting a burden on people.
Yeah.
We already got the trash tax, which a lot of people are angry because that trash tax should have been included in our property tax, but as the issues with the apartments, which we would have had to give them so many hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it's not just Millville, it's Salem County, so on. They have where they have you buy a sticker per bag, $1 a sticker to put on there. So I mean, it's just all over. It's something that has to be done with our state senator to figure out this issue to get it resolved quickly. To get more money in, the only thing I can see is revenue, and I mean, we could say we could put functions on, but I mean, we're not going to get people to pay to come out and functions. Like, we have to have ways to bring more business in, and hopefully maybe with these revenues that come in, besides them coming in and just paying taxes to, my personal philosophy is if they can come in and then they're paying their taxes, that's fine, but can you donate to your local police department? Can you donate to your local fire department? Because these entities will be taking care of your facilities when there is an issue coming in.
Maybe some of that looks like coin drops.
Could be coin drops, but I'd like to see the companies actually come out, the president, to the meetings and meet with the owners and managers, and meet with the police department, fire department, get to know them, and see what we need. And some of the stuff that they can donate can be a write-off as well.
I gotcha.
So,
right. So it's not like a full-on function, but it's some type of meet and greet.
yes,
like,
because
get to know your public servants a little bit better. That way you can hear directly from them what they need.
right, it's not, you're protecting your facility by helping these guys be able to do their job and keep a living wage going for them.
Right.
I mean, nobody cares about a cop until there's a problem.
Right.
Nobody cares about the rescue squad until they need it.
Right.
And nobody cares about the fire department until their house is burning down.
Right.
But in reality, you need to care about it all the time, because if you don't, who's going to,
It won't be there when you need it. Yep, exactly. Well then, this is also reminding me of a recurring issue I've heard over the past couple of years, which is the increase of cannabis sales throughout the county. I think most recently I heard that somebody was going to try and do something on High Street, but then it doesn't fit the zoning properly or whatever. Basically, are you for or against the sale of cannabis? And if so, should it be in certain areas of town as opposed to others?
Well, I really don't like the idea of cannabis being sold, but, being a cop, it being illegal, being part-time even, part-time cop. But it is good for medical, I understand. And the facilities that are manufacturing it, I don't have a problem with it, as long as, I voted no against one that was coming to on Wheaton Avenue next to the charter school. I couldn't see it being near a charter school.
Yeah, it's a bit too close.
Too close, although I was told, they have more security in the schools. If the school got in problems, they could help. I can't see them running over to help the school. I mean, maybe they would. I don't like that. With the sales on High Street, I don't know. I mean, they have good clientele, and they have, like anything else, you have good clientele and you have bad clientele that comes in with that type of stuff. So I would talk to the stores downtown and citizens of how they would feel about, especially those who shop in those areas, how they would feel about having that before I made that. But they're already selling some of that cannabis already in town.
Mhm.
I mean, the gas station that's near Rite Aid that's closed down, they're selling it.
Yeah.
And there's one across the street from McDonald's where Domino's is. They're selling stuff. I mean, not as strong as what you get from the one that's in Vineland, where you
Yeah.
need the prescription,
Mhm.
that kind of stuff. But they're selling it.
And that's legal, like on the books legal.
Um,
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, they're not really. We didn't. From the last commission, they didn't want any of that sold in town. So I don't know how they. I mean, if it's under a certain type of
Percent or
whatever, if they can do that, and I don't know if they're telling the city, if the city's investigating it and saying it. I mean, I have mentioned it to them,
Yeah.
to other commissioners, and said, you do know they're selling this, and you can go in and buy a roll cigarette with marijuana in it. You can buy the vapes,
Mhm.
and I don't know how much percentage is in it, but they're selling it. So
Right.
you're telling me you're not supposed to, but it's there. So
Right. A lot of more gray area stuff going
Yeah.
on. Mm-hmm. So then, oh, you know what? When you were talking, you were saying about how when you have police that are foot patrol and bike patrol, they're out there actually seeing what's going on
Yeah,
a lot
seeing
better
smell.
than, maybe a captain in the station or whatever.
or in a patrol car riding by.
Or a patrol car, right. And it's making me think, like, I've noticed over the past couple of years there are a few officials who sometimes take long vacations or maybe only show up to half the meetings and some other stuff like that. And I saw a Facebook post not too long ago regarding whether or not people should have to show up to the meetings. What's your take on the difference between, I don't know, maybe getting on a Zoom call for a commission meeting or just reviewing the tape versus showing up and making sure you're talking to people face to face and all that kind of stuff?
You mean like having a commission meeting on a Zoom call?
Well, just as an indirect example, as in, if you were to come across a elected official or a candidate who was implying that they don't necessarily need to show up all the time, would you see that as a red flag or just something you can work with because Zoom calls are fine?
Well, that started during COVID, and we've
Yeah.
had some that we had some on the school board that like to do Zoom meetings
Yeah.
constantly. That's all right, like, if you can't make it because of one reason or another, but you can do it at home. But in the public's eyes, people would like to see you, my personal opinion.
Yeah.
And be my opinion, if I was just sitting there, I'd like to see that person at least, if there's 2 meetings a month and you can't make one, at least try to be at the other.
Yeah.
If you can't be there on it personally, Zoom
Now,
is
what if
fine.
it was regular, like every month?
I don't think that should be, because if you miss a school board meeting or you miss a city meeting, especially with school board, if you miss 3 consecutive meetings, you're out. That's really kind of missing the meeting, unless you're home because of medical reasons, but you can still function that way through Zoom. That's different. They do have families that are on the school board or commission, and maybe somebody couldn't watch their little ones for them, so they have to stay home. I can understand that as well, but you did take that seat, and you are a public servant, and you should be there.
Yeah.
I wanted to say have to be there, but you should be there. Try your best to be there.
Yeah. I mean, there's actually a national news story about that right now.
Right.
Did you hear about that in Texas?
No, I didn't actually.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to cause any controversies with people who lean left or lean right, but there's a particular situation going on over there where I guess dozens of elected officials didn't show up to a meeting on purpose.
Oh, yes.
You did hear about that?
Yes.
I mean, that just sounds...
2 other states.
Right, exactly. And that's a national news story that you might think is only happening in Texas, but after 2 years of me kind of poking my head around.
They've done it.
It goes on around here too. Maybe not to that extent, but in my mind, it's a bit of a concern. Like, okay, you're elected. Are you here doing the job or what?
That's because they don't want to vote on certain things the way I understand it. And they want to
that happens sometimes too.
But I understand that Texas Rangers are going to get them.
Yeah, right.
But, yeah, I mean, I was going to say something else, but like with my issues, like with me, I'm a guy that's going to be out there. Like, I want to even have a community relations meeting with my people. I have mentioned it to other commissioners, but nobody's done anything. And that was from when I ran the last time. I wanted to, if I got in, I was going to do that once. I was going to do it once a week, have a meeting, and in the chambers. And it's not official open meeting, but it would be a meeting that people can come in. We can express our concerns. I'll have somebody there taking down notes, and it can be recorded. We don't have to have all the commissioners there, and it can be recorded so that if they want to watch it, they can watch it, or it can be put on our YouTube. But we need to know what the people think, because we're there to find out what they want and how they want their cities, their expectation for the city that they're living in.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be when I grew up, everybody lived in Millville their whole life, and when I growing up, there were people that lived there for a long time, but it's totally different people now.
Right. People
moving here to get away from the problems.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been out at night door dashing, just extra money, and because my wife's on oxygen, so it costs quite a bit for tanks. So, and I enjoy it. So when we're out door dashing, I haven't noticed, like I did when I went to patrol, large groups of people wandering around throughout Center State, because we do deliver within those areas. But I have noticed large groups of people at certain areas, like at one porch here, another porch there, which eventually bleeds out to, which there's a gentleman that records it on Up Street. It does bleed out to those porches and start their little shootings and whatever.
Oh, right, yeah.
But I haven't seen, like, before, like when I was foot patrolling, I haven't seen like the large groups this summer. Like they're all over town and, causing commotion.
Yeah.
It's in segregated little areas, and that's actually even better, because if they're in the segregated areas and not moving all over, police can keep an
eye on it
better than
if it was scattered all over the city. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, we are wrapping up. I almost didn't expect you to see you here today, so you get bonus points in my book for showing up, even though you're somewhat incapacitated.
Yeah, I was at the hospital just before I got here.
Yeah. So again, you get your bonus points, and we got to wrap it up. Again, guys, this is Robert McQuade. He's running for Millville City Commissioner, and you can check out some of his information on InformTheVoteNJ.com. I'm going to upload this interview and add some of the information to your profile. And that's supposed to be part of the process, right? You give people your basic campaign information, you talk to the press a couple times, and then let everybody review the information so that they can make their choice.
And if you want to get your old TVs picked up, just give me a call at 609-501-2437. And you can contact Mike Wilden as well on Facebook. Take care.
Yep, thanks for hanging out, guys. And next week, again, it's going to be Eric Simonson, the Assemblyman, running for re-election. See you then.